Hey there, guys. Welcome back to another episode of Monster Soup League. It's your boy Odin, and today I wanted to make a quick guide on how to enhance your Astromon. We did end up going through all the way to 600 summons for the Light in the Dark Garuda, so I just wanted to make this as a bit of a follow-up video to how to properly enhance them, as long as go over some of the other Astromon that you guys could be enhancing, and yeah, just give you guys a little bit of a rundown on how that exactly works. If you are new, then this will be essentially be a pretty good guide for you, but if you are older and you know about enhancements, then you can pretty much just go ahead and skip on this video unless you think there's something that you can gain from it, which I still think you can. But I'm going to go ahead and basically go through it right now as well. So Elio, I know, does have a guide on enhancement. So make sure you go check out his channel and follow him. Subscribe to his channel as well. And he does do some pretty decent guides here and there. So go ahead and check him out as well. But let's go ahead and talk about the actual enhancement system here. So enhancements, if you don't know, is essentially just an extra boosted level of stats that you can gain by spending this essence right up here. And essentially you get that essence by just releasing nat 3s, 4s, 5s, and depending on the level of the Astromon that you're releasing, you're going to get a certain amount of essence. If you're releasing a nat 5, you can get anywhere between 1,000 essence all the way to 2,500 essence. If it's a nat 4, it's usually between 120 to 300. If it's a nat 3, then you're looking anywhere between 30 to 100, I believe. So, you guys can kind of, take a peek whenever you guys release your Astromon. You'll see how much essence you get. Obviously, I have a pretty large amount of essence that I've saved up here for the last couple of days. Plus, I released all those, pretty much almost all of those 600 Astromons that I got during the Garuda Primo Festival. So there we go. So for the base stats that you guys can get, or all the existing stats that you can roll, if you guys take a look at your Astromon, there's HP, attack, defense, recovery, crit damage, crit rate, resist, and crit resist. So in total, there's 8 there, but you do have to account for percentage rolls. So there's an HP percent, there's an attack percent, defense percent, and a recovery percent as well. So you do have to add those in there. So in total, what that means is that you have 12 different types of stats that you can roll for your enhancements. In order to do your ultimate evolution, for example, on a lot of your nat 5s, like, the Dark Persephone, even the Odins, etc., you're going to need to basically fill up all their enhancements to, activate that ultimate evolution. So it's the same thing with the Garuda. So I'm going to go ahead and basically show you guys what you can do here. So really, it all depends on the type of Astromon that you're enhancing and what kind of gems you have. I'm just throwing here a couple of different, gems on the Garudas so I could use them this weekend for the world boss. So they're all attack, for example, on the Dark Garuda, because, attack power is really where he gets a lot of his world boss points. But essentially, you want to kind of like figure out where you're going to use the Astromon. So if you're going to use somebody in arenas, for example, you're probably going to want to invest in crit resist and in resist, depending on whether or not your gems actually need those two stats. If you're thinking that your mon is going to be used heavily in the arenas or CVC, then like I said, crit rate or crit resist and resist are going to be the two that you're going to want to at least put a little bit into. Generally nowadays, you can actually just trust that your mon is going to have a decent amount of crit resist from the trinkets. The exclusive trinkets, of course, are going to give you a little bit of a higher buff. But if you want to get, up to like 23, for example, let me go ahead and show you guys my Dark Indra. I think you can get up to like 23% crit resist, just by maintaining the exclusive trinkets. So in my opinion, crit resist is not as important outside of arena. Maybe in like dragons it's pretty important, but aside from that, you don't need it that much. You can it's definitely got its uses on Titans, it's definitely got its uses in Apophis, but if you're using it for this story, you can forget about crit resist, and you can pretty much also forget about resist, unless if you're a new player, you don't even need crit resist or resist. Those two things really come in play when you're doing high-end arenas, and like I said, Titans and Apophis, and some of the dragons. But other than that, you don't need to roll for those. So I would say, really, take a look at where you're using your Astromon, what type of stats it needs. You know, if you need a little bit more HP, do you need a little bit more defense, that type of thing. In general, what I like to roll for is definitely double attack, especially on an attacker mon. If it's a defense aggressor mon, like the brand new Crystal Dragon, then you want to go for both defense and, you know, whether it's percentage and flat, I went for both. So that's really how you want to start off with, depending on if it's a defense aggressor, HP aggressor, attacker. You want to kind of like double stack that stat, because obviously that's going to give you more power to your Astromon, so to make them a little bit stronger. And then the rest essentially comes kind of second nature to what those first two stats are. So if you have, for example, an attacker like Garuda here, I'm going to go ahead and enhance them, guys. You're going to want to find attack first. And what I would recommend is that a lot of you guys essentially roll for that main stat first, because if you wait until you get to, you know, the last stat, it's going to cost you really, really heavily if you're going to go all the way down that list and wait till you get that enhancement then. So if you're looking right now at what I'm doing here, it costs 100 essence to re-roll the first stat. And obviously that gets a little bit more expensive as you go down the list. And I'm going to show you guys that here in a second. So we're just going to keep going. I'm going to stick here with the first stat. I went for crit damage. I'm definitely going to be looking for attack as well. So I'm just going to hit OK on that one. As you guys can see, I have quite a bit of essence, so I don't mind rolling for crit damage right off the bat. Again, he is already a Dark Mon. You could just roll for crit rate, but I'm always going to be going for crit damage because I'm usually putting in... I'm going to probably use something like triple attack on this Dark Garuda, or attack crit damage. So I'm going to go ahead and maximize his damage potential. And again, it's mainly for the world boss. All right, so we got really lucky there and we pulled attack. And that cost us 150 to reroll. So on the third stat now, it's going to cost us 200 enhance essence to do the stat. We got really, really lucky there, and we pulled the attack stat right there. So that's good. So now we've got our two primary stats and our secondary stat, which would be the crit damage there. Now, here's what I would recommend, guys. If you are building an attacker mon like this, you don't want to roll for defense. The reason why you don't want to roll this flat defense is, one, flat defense doesn't do much for you. You know, unless you've got a defense percentage gem already on your kit. So I suggest you guys roll for something else like HP right here. So there are some caveats when it comes to HP percent. HP actually does give you a little bit of a higher point system in the world boss as well. So I'm actually going to stick with the HP percent. And in general, you would want to roll for percentage over flat base substats. Again, really, HP is going to give you a little bit more bonus points when it comes to attacker mon like this in the world boss. So I'm going to roll for HP. All right, so on this next one, on the fifth enhancement now, it's going to cost us 400 essence to do the roll again. So I'm essentially going to go ahead and do that until I get the next stat that I want. And I am actually going to go for defense percent. So again, this mon is a dark type attacker. He's going to be used for the world boss. His main role is going to be just full out damage. His defense, flat base defense, is not going to be very high. So you're going to benefit more from a defense percent over a flat defense increase. So I'm going to go ahead and keep the defense percent. And for the last one, it's going to cost you 500 essence to re-roll that stat. I'm actually going to go for HP again. I don't need resist, and I don't need crit resist on this Dark Mon. If I ever use him, it's going to be during the active week in arenas. And that's going to be, he's basically just going to be a nuker. So because he is going to be a nuker, I could care less about crit resist and resist. He's going to be a one-hit type mon. You know, whether or not he kills the rest of them, it's all going to depend on that real lucky crit rate and or attack, crit damage, stacking bonus from the power that you get. So again, this is where it gets really, really expensive to re-roll your stats. I'm just going to keep hunting until I pick up the flat HP. And as you guys can see, the system itself is actually terrible because you can actually roll the same substat in the same turn. So if you have, let's say, recovery, and you re-roll again, you could roll recovery again. So there's no way to eliminate that re-roll chance. Like right there, I just rolled resist and resist twice. In my opinion, Smart Study needs to change that, because you're wasting 500 essence when you get to the last one there. And that means your RNG is just substantially reduced when you get to the last one. So what I recommend you guys to do is to do what I'm doing. Stack up as much enhancement essence as you can to basically try again later. And if you guys, and I'm going to show you this right now as well, if for some reason you think that you don't have enough essence, because if you finish this roll right here, you will end up with that enhancement that you rolled. But what you can do is you can cancel that enhancement by just selecting this X at the top right, and it's going to say press and close will reset all enhancements. Any mystic essence used will not be returned. Are you sure you want to proceed? And you're going to hit yes. And what that does is it basically cancels out the enhancement wherever you're leaving off. So I'm going to go ahead and get back into it, because obviously I have enough. There we go. Finally, HP. But as you guys can see, that's kind of how that works. If you want to re-roll a stat, you're going to want to go ahead and basically do that. It costs 250 essence, and it gives you a small chance to basically get a different level of enhancement than you did previously. So you're going to want to keep re-rolling this until you get a higher number that you want. I'm going to go for a little bit more in defense there. All right. And I do want to get a little bit more attack, because again, this guy is mainly going to be used for world boss points. I know some of you guys are probably like, wow, that is ridiculous. But, when you have as many Astromon as I do, as many Nat 5s as I do, you can afford to do this. So, but if you look at it in total, guys, I spent roughly 14,000 essence to basically max out his full enhancements. So that's the type of thing that you guys need to watch out for. You could roll one stat at a time, and then just hit the X at the top right to cancel that action. But I generally don't recommend you guys to enhance until you have a nice amount of stats left over. So again, really, for the Dark Garuda, I'm going with double attack, HP, percent defense, and crit damage. That is actually my preferred enhancement Spix for all Titans mons, because you don't get much from flat defense. Most of your stats are going to come from attack, crit damage, crit area if you really need it. But in my opinion, if you're getting anywhere between 80% chance to crit rate or 70% chance to crit rate without a crit rate gem, I think that you guys are doing quite good. So, looking at my Dark Indra here, he's sitting at 264% crit damage with 90% chance to crit rate. Crit resist is 23%, and his resist is only 22% because he is used in the back lane. One thing that I hope to re-roll in the future is his super enhancement. Or super ascension, I should say. I ended up getting shield, which is okay, but really what you want to get for him is devastating strikes. If you get devastating strikes, you're going to be dealing in like an extra 30%, or well, it says they're 25% damage against lower defense, but if if you take into account how many turns, and if you're critting every single turn, you're going to end up with like an extra 40 to 50% extra damage compared to what he would do without that skill or super ascension skill, which is devastating strikes. So there's definitely a little bit of things that you guys can look into. But like I said, attack, defense, HP, and crit damage is usually my go-to for attackers. Yeah, that's my recommendation for a lot of you guys who are using them. Really looking at, most of my mons, they really do have that same setup. Let's go over here to some of my Titans mons. Same thing here, attack, HP, defense, and crit damage. So something I do recommend you guys to kind of like hunt and pick there. I still haven't finished doing my Arthur, but I think I might do the same thing with him. Again, really, I left that last slot there because at some point I was rolling for, I think it was flat HP, and it took forever. And yeah, it's not fun. Here's another example of another mon you guys can enhance, like the Dark Valk, for example. I went with defense, and there's that crit resist. Again, really using her for arenas. This enhancement and this gem set is actually terrible, so I am going to plan on switching it out for a Gem of Life set. But really what I was going for there is the resist and the crit resist. So 32% chance to crit resist, pretty achievable right there. Definitely could use some improvement here and there, like I said, with the gems. But that's kind of what you want to do. For your healers, and let me go ahead and see if I can pick one up here. Here is your an example of a water bast. So I went with defense, HP, recovery, and defense. And here's the thing with your healers. It all depends on your gems. If you have a recovery gem that you are using in the monster set, so if you're using, for example, HP, defense, and recovery, like this one here, HP, recovery is what I went with this bast. You're gonna want to stack a little bit of recovery or HP or defense. I left this last slot here for flat HP. So it all depends on, like, your gems. For this other one here, I went for defense, recovery, HP, resist, crit resist. This one I believe I'm using in the front lane in the Dark Titan. So essentially I needed that extra resist and crit resist, but only using percent recovery because I was already using gems that had a pretty decent amount of recovery, and I'm using a recovery gem as well. So there you go. And again, you guys can pause the video. Take a look at the gem itself. So this one here has 22% resist and 14% recovery. This one here has got 12% recovery, decent amount of HP, some defense on the gem. Here's the recovery gem. This one can definitely be changed. I'm sure I'll probably go through one of these days when it's free gem removal day and redo a lot of these. But that's something that you guys can use. So if you look at the Mon here, she's got basically 5,200 or almost 5,300 recovery, whereas this one here is at 6,500 recovery. So really, again, depends on what your Astromon that you're using with for your healers and the type of gems that healer has. But in general, guys, like I said, Titans Mons, you're going to want to attack HP, percent defense, and crit damage there. Let's see, another Mon that I could show you guys. I haven't seen what other Mons I usually have enhanced differently. Really, if I had like a Courageous Striker, I might be able to show you guys something else that's different than what I normally pick. All right, so here's a John Wuchi. So John Wuchi, I went with basically full defense, full attack, and full HP. I didn't want to go for crit rate because I had essentially 97% chance to crit rate. I already have a crit damage gem there with 97% crit damage. I basically have 60% resist and 20% crit resistance. This Wuchi is also sitting at 10,500 attack power, so I felt like he was pretty good the way that he was, so I didn't really need crit rate. I could have stacked a little bit more crit damage because I am using a Valor gem set, but I wanted to also balance out his survivability because Apophis is only 20 turns, and I'm using this one on the third sword, which means that at that point, most Apophis that I'm fighting are going to be level 90 and above, so I really wanted to max out his survivability. So really, that's how you want to think about it. That's how you want to enhance your Astromon, is their use, what your gems look like, and where you're going to be using them. So all right, let's go ahead and do the light Garuda here, and then I'll go ahead and basically, probably pause this video here and go on to do the next one. So, but again, guys, really starting out with 100% or 100 essence to redo your enhancements. I'm just gonna keep going until I find attack. The light one, in my opinion, could use some crit resistance, but you should not need resistance on the light one. The reason why I would say no resistance on the light one is because most of that should be coming from your gems. And if you are using the light Garuda, chances are that you're going to be using him like a defense attack or a HP attack gem set to make sure that he's surviving pretty well. Wow, that was actually a really good roll there with 20 out of 20 attack. But yeah, so I think that for the light Garuda, you really shouldn't need too much resist. The resist should be able to come from your gems. I can't remember if this Garuda actually, wow, let's go ahead and keep that. I can't remember if the light Garuda actually comes with some resist. No, he does not. So in general, some light or some wood Astromon come with an extra bit of resist. So for example, there's my wood Garuda there. He's got a little bit of resist, so you shouldn't need to roll too much for it. Again, really, your resist you can basically pick up anywhere, so I don't recommend you guys to roll for resist on this type of mon, unless you're using him as a defense mon. But there's other mon that you can use as a defender. So really, it all depends on what you got. I'm tempted to keep that HP because I know it's going to be really hard to roll those two at the end, but I really want to go for attack because, like I said, as things get more, down the list, it's going to get a lot more expensive. And I prefer to roll attack now while I have the essence than to roll, 500 essence on that last slot and hope that I get attack. So, but like I said, guys, the enhancement system really is tough when it comes to the essence. It's very, very unforgiving because you can roll the same thing twice. Like I said, in my opinion, it needs a little bit of rework, but the system has been out for, I don't know, close to a year and a half now, and they haven't made a change to it. So I highly doubt they're going to make any changes to it down the line. But yeah, as you guys can see, I'm basically just going to go roll for HP now for both of my two remaining stats. And hopefully I don't spend these 13,000 essence hunting for HP. I did not. Wow, that was really, really lucky because we could have gone down a rabbit hole there. All right, I'm just going to try to go for a little bit more attack than 270. And, this is why I said, guys, just stockpile your essence because you never know. There are going to be times where you get really lucky like I just did and I get 20% defense and attack. Or you may be up, hunting for that higher roll for 5,000 essence. So, all right, I think I'm going to try to go for a little bit higher on the crit damage instead of the HP. Again, really, these mons are going to be used for World Boss. Yeah, I think that's where I'm going to keep them for now. But if you guys looked, my Garuda here jumped to 14,700 attack, which in my opinion is pretty good. I actually can definitely improve him still. I could give him a better trinket, definitely a better relic, and definitely a better, what is it called? I forget what this one's called. I forget what that one has. It has a specific name. I think it's like a trinket, relic, and I forget what the other one is. But Magicite, that's the other one. Magicite, relic, or essence. But anyways, guys, that's it for this video. Really, I just want to give you guys a little rundown as to what you guys can, roll for, how the system works. I know it's been like a really, really long time coming since I've probably should have dropped this, months ago, but I'm just getting around to it now. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video, and let me know if you guys need any help with anything. Message me on Discord. Join the Discord if you are new. If not, I'll see you all on the next video. Take it easy, guys.